So it is now a day later, but I have all of the insulation laid out the way I want it to. You might notice right here, I have the insulation in line with these wood planks and not on top of them. The floor that was here, that was covering these slots that the back seats connect to, was even with where it is pretty much now, this insulation. I didn't want to lay the insulation on the wooden planks because I figure I didn't want to significantly raise how high the floor is right here, because maybe this is the level that's comfortable when people are sitting in those seats to have their feet at. And I figure if I do lose some insulation effectiveness by not having a small gap of space, it's fine. I just don't want to risk raising the floor and then it ending up being kind of uncomfortable with a raised floor for your feet. So I'm just going to go with this. I also think just having a little lip right here might actually look kind of nice. So we'll see how that turns out. But I'm pretty happy with this layout. The next thing I need to do is kind of take these pieces out and use them to outline the plywood that I plan on cutting, and get that plywood cut and put in here. And then I can screw down the plywood and I'll actually have a floor I can walk on, because I cannot walk on this insulation without cracking it. So that's the next step. So just like I did for this first piece, I repeated the process again and cut out this second piece here that will go in the center of the van. This was a bit easier, it's just a lot more square. And what I want to do right now is that second piece would go right here in the center, and a third piece essentially would go right here over the seats. Before I do that though, I want to put in the first two pieces and just kind of see them down, maybe scoot them down, I don't know. I just kind of want to see it before I do this third and final piece. Especially since these are going to be disjointed. So I'm going to put the insulation back in, and before I put on the plywood, I bought some spray insulation. It's called Great Stuff, and I'm going to just kind of spray that insulation in on the seams and the cracks and any little gaps that there might be in the foam insulation, to kind of give it a little bit of adhesive to hold it in place, and also just to fill in the gaps. So I'm going to do that now. Hopefully it's not too bright right now, but I have now sprayed at least all the insulation I plan on spraying right now. I did, in my stupidity, manage to forget about doing this center seam right here until like the very end. So like the very center right there doesn't have any insulation because I can't reach it right now and I don't want to step on this cardboard. But I should be able to just get to that later. So basically anywhere that there was a little crack or a gap, I just sprayed in some insulation to hopefully make a nice little seal. I'm hoping some of the loose pieces it'll just kind of hold in place, like this little makeshift piece I just shoved right there because I measured wrong and there's a little bit of a gap. I don't know how long this will take to cure. I'm guessing not more than a day, but I'll probably just let it sit here for 30 minutes to an hour, and then I might come out, start putting the plywood on top of this and screw in the floor, and hopefully we have a nice functional floor. Okay, there's a chance to get over here, cut this. A little bit of a gap here, but that's fine. You're not going to really see that later on. I'm liking that I can just sit on it and it's not like cracking and breaking. It tells me the weight distribution is good. Alright, sweet. I'm going to screw this in and hope for the best. I have this going the wrong way. Okay, so that felt good. I feel like I could feel it going into the wood underneath. You can see it pops right through the foam. It just chunks right through it. And then it stops when it gets to the wood plank that's underneath. Which, if I did this right, I should be drilling straight into. So I'm hoping I did it right. Okay. I think that's good. So if I did that right, this, it feels solid, just hitting it. I think I'm just gonna trust that I did that right and that it drilled in well. Ooh. I think I went a little too far with that one. I think I need to drill it a little bit slower. Like there's good. This plywood's thin. I don't want to give it too much force and just go clean through it. So like that. That's not moving. If I missed the plank of wood underneath, it would just flop around like it was a second ago. But that looks pretty good, I think. It is not moving. So, I'm just going to repeat that for every hole that I marked. And now, I have screwed in all of the screws. It moves and crunches and crinkles maybe a little bit more than I would like, especially at certain points. Like I realized right here, ooh, right here, if you put a lot of weight right there, it moves a little bit. I'm thinking, hopefully, the foam insulation is just raised a little bit, and over time it'll just kind of crunch down and stop doing that. I'm also thinking once you put the aesthetic floor in here and it covers the plywood, the weight distribution will be even more even, especially right here where there's this seam. You know, this is kind of bad, but eventually that will kind of even out. But for now, this is workable. I can actually walk around in here now. I do need to figure out this side, because I realized after I had cut these two pieces that the way I cut these two, I did not leave myself a large enough piece of plywood to fill in this flooring with one piece of plywood. The foam here, if you look closely, is all cut up and like jigsaw pieced in to fill in the surface area. And I don't want to do that with the plywood. I want the plywood to be as one piece as it can get. So I'm either going to have to get a little creative with the plywood that I still have, or just fork over the other $30 to go out and buy another 4-foot by 8-foot piece of plywood. So we'll see. But for now, I'm pretty happy with this. Now what I can do is start working in here. I can start building structural support on the walls, start filling them out, put insulation to the walls. I can start putting the electronics and things like that in here, because now there's actually a floor for them to sit on. I am excited to get started. But that is a project for another day. As you can see, the sun is going down. It's actually really nice out right now. But I'm very happy with this. Good progress today. Hoping for even more progress tomorrow. See you in another day.